Table Veterans Court with Judge Hooks, Attorney Lori Roper, and Attorney Brian Scanlon. The panelists are going to be calling in, and we'll be introducing them in a moment. But I have also on my line the illustrious Governor of Talk Radio, who is taking care of some business, but he is actually on the phone and doing great things where he is. So, hi, Cliff.
You're so kind. You're so kind. How you doing?
Okay, good. Yeah, we had a fun half hour just a moment ago, but
yeah,
I guess we're moving into the next one.
Oh my goodness, yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
you do such a wonderful job.
Oh,
so
thank
pleased.
you. Yeah.
Oh yes, you know that.
They're big shoes and a big seat to fill here because you are. I'm telling you, what you have to do on a daily basis is more than a notion.
Well, thank you so much. Coming from you, that is so meaningful.
Yeah. And with your skill, you make it look so easy. But, but
tell us about this.
Oh yeah, we have actually on the line we have William H. Hooks, U.S. Marine veteran and Cook County Judicial Circuit Court judge, who has done incredible things in the community. I have such great respect for this man.
He sure does.
And then we have Lori Roper also, who's a Cook County Attorney Supervisor, Problem Solving Courts on the 26th in California, who's working at the same system I believe Judge Hooks is at. And then Brian Scanlon, the Cook County Assistant Attorney, Public Defender's Office. So they're here to talk about veteran court programs and service updates. So we are so pleased to have all three of you on the line. We can start. Judge Hooks.
Oh, good afternoon. I recognize that voice. Is this Dr. Arnold?
Yes, it is.
Oh, Arnold, how you doing? I thought that was that voice.
Retired colonel from the Army.
All right.
Cliff Kelly. Well, look, and thank you so much. Brian reminded me about the situation today, and Lori is always on me about making sure we are on the air with this fabulous show, so I'm glad we're here.
Yes.
This is true.
We are so pleased to have you. You folks just continue to do great work, and although, I enjoy seeing people while I'm in the studio, this time I haven't been able to do that for a couple of weeks because of some things I'm having to do, but I promise I'll be back next week for sure. Yeah. So go right ahead, folks.
You got a great. I just wanted to say that Lori is a supervisor of our public defenders that work in the Veterans Court, and the primary public defender in the courtroom is Brian. So they are very loyal to the call, very loyal to our veterans. I want to thank them for making sure I got a chance to be on the show with them. But they do a great job. They can explain their function. I'll explain my function. I'm going to throw it to them right now because I think Brian had some comments, and so did Lori.
Great.
Yeah. Yes. Good. And again, my name is Lori Roper, and Brian is the actual boots on the ground, so to speak, attorney in the courtroom. And what has been occurring lately is, as we all know, that everyone has been in a shelter-in-place mode as well as in the court. Mm-hmm. So the courts have not been meeting in a traditional sense. However, judges like Judge Hooks, who are so committed to our clients that come through 26 in California, along with, of course, Chief Judge Evans, they set up a system where our clients and the attorneys and the people that help them get services are able to still do just that. And Brian, will you tell the listeners how exactly you and Judge Hooks and that whole team go about that?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you once again for always greeting me and having me on your show.
Absolutely. How you doing? Good.
Great. Well, what I do and I really love is we have Judge Hooks who's in charge of the program, and then we'll be more than glad to answer any questions, whether it's related to our courtroom or other veterans' benefits. But for the veterans that come into our courtroom, as Judge Hooks likes to expand on, we try and give everybody their self-directed life. That's the theme of our courtroom. You have a self-directed life. We just enhance your ability to refocus your life. We come into Judge Hook's courtroom every week. We go over who is acceptable and who is not very many people are unacceptable, but we challenge people here. Let's give this to you. Let's create an environment in which you can learn to bring back, such as like when they were in the military. You're given your orders, and at this time, even though we can't meet in the courtroom, Judge Hooks is on top of how we can meet with our people, which is through online Zoom. And at the veterans, we have gone over, at the VA, we have gone over that they can do screenings with their doctors. They can do therapy online. The one thing that's difficult is the physical therapy, but they still do and get physical therapy at the VA. But for right now, we are still meeting weekly. We have not given up on anyone. The COVID is not going to beat us. It's like any mission. We're directed to do it. And I report to Lori every week, and I report to Judge Hooks, who I talk to regularly. Is there any questions that anybody might have specifically for me, or should I talk a little more about the courtroom?
Talk a little more, because I think most people, and Doc, I'm sure you would agree, have no idea about what a great service this is with the courts. And, of course, you know, William Hooks being a Marine veteran, we know what he's about.
Yes.
Well, I would like to say to the listening audience, should you have a close friend or family member that might run afoul of the law, and they are a veteran, they may not know how much services they qualify for. And Judge Hooks has made it a priority in his courtroom to have one individual that can upgrade discharge statuses. There is no shame. There's only welcoming in the courtroom. We'll bring you in. We'll assess your needs. And we will put you back towards that theme, our very, very focused theme of a self-directed life. And regularly, we go through training with other veterans courts so we can see what other courtrooms are doing, and we can fold all the best of the ideas into our courtroom.
Oh, fantastic. With those cases, I've heard also this, it has an effect on the recidivism rate as well. That has actually decreased that, because people actually got the kind of services they need and were able to be stabilized by that program.
That's exactly right. Go ahead, Judge Hooks. Yeah.
Well, Brian has covered a whole lot, and and Lori is right behind us in the program. But the program, like we said, it's a self-directed life. We try to. A lot of people don't have a plan. The military gave them some structure. They got out. And we're not talking about those typically that have been in the military for long periods of time, like Dr. David Arnold and myself. We're talking about people gone in, they came out of high school, they went in, and they wanted to make themselves better. And most did, but then when they got in there, a few got in there, it didn't work out for them. They came out, and then some worked out for them. They came out here and got into some difficulties. Let me explain that our courtroom is for people charged with felony offenses, not misdemeanor offenses. We give attention to those. A lot of our veterans have the drug, alcohol problems to the degree that they have more than a few DUIs and more than a few run-ins with the law with respect to narcotics. And so, we have the crime, what I call crimes of poverty, like shoplifting, minor thefts. So it's a full range of matters, but no misdemeanors are involved in the situation. When we get them in, we have great services from the VA here in Chicago. We have the Salvation Army. We have a dedicated probation officer just for veterans call. We also have a dedicated prosecutor. She's very compassionate, and she tries to pull these veterans from other courtrooms when they're identified. And the other judges typically cooperate and let us have our time with them and make these folks better. So it's a really rewarding experience, I believe, for everybody involved. We like to say that our job is to make them better after they have to have come in than they were before they came in. One last thing, and I'm going to shut up, is that we also been successful in getting them upgrading the discharges, like Brian said, in many cases, which also gives us a position. We also try to get them housed. Many of our veterans are homeless, are semi-homeless, the VA has been good with HUD in terms of actually getting them housing that they never had. So it's a full package, and I'm blessed to be with a good crew. And all my crew are volunteers. Dr. Arnold, I'm not going to tease you, just like the Marine Corps. They're all volunteers. But no, I love all the branches of the service because we tease about the branches of the service, but having served in the Marines,
Yeah.
I got a chance to be with all the branches of the service, and I understand how all the branches of the service count.
Yeah.
And the services blend together for the purpose of the national security of the U.S.
Yes, sir. And and one of the things too is that you were just sort of touched on a subject about the mental health issues. Is that something that you see a lot? Because we have people doing like 3-4 tours overseas, and they come back sometimes with PTSD or mental health issues that sort of bring
Yes.
them into that type of environment. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Doctor, some of the veterans have that. The younger veterans. Our older veterans typically not that problem. Don't have that as a problem, but we try to deal with whatever comes in the door. Brian, what is? Let me get Brian and Lori's take on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with
I
the
can start.
go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead, Lori.
Oh no, I was just going to say that regarding the PTSD, what we also find, and Judge Hooks can attest to this as well as Brian, is that there are people who actually end up having a little of both substance abuse and mental health. And a lot of times the substance abuse is brought on by the mental health issue, the PTSD or what have you.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of times people choose to attempt to self-medicate. And so all those things are reviewed and assessed by the experts that are involved at this court that are VA workers. And a lot of times they assess the individuals, and everything is tailored to what that specific veteran needs. It's not, we're just going to give you a whole battery of things and we just want you to do them. It's sitting down with a specific veteran to find out what exactly is your need. What can we do to help you? And Judge Hooks does it in such a great way with the help of Brian and other people. So anything you would like to add to that, Brian?
Oh, yeah. I one of the wonderful things about my position is that Lori has put me in charge of not only the Veterans Court, but for non-veterans, I'm also the public defender in charge of the mental health court and then also the drug court.
Oh.
So I do multifaceted, and I see exactly like at the very beginning, many problems with drugs is that when somebody's been running rough and ready with the drugs for many years, that we can't address their mental health issues until the substance abuse issues get balanced. Yeah. And in our courtroom, we are very, very, very lucky that the VA can provide the medications people need. No matter what it is, we will assess them. We will do a full, holistic screening. What do you need to bring you back to a healthy lifestyle, which, as Judge Hook said, is focused on giving the individual a self-directed life so that once they no longer need us, we can return them to society, not only cleaned up for medication and health-wise, but we clean up the record. I know we've discussed this before with Cliff, but Judge Hooks is very, very lenient with me in writing orders that at the end, along with the state's attorney, we dismiss the charges and we look at how much we can help the individual so they can return to occupation and housing. As we've learned, that just because you have this on your record, you are not barred from housing with the VA. We will find you a place to live.
That is
not
so
true, Judge Hooks?
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. I mean, the staff takes personal interest. These, like Brian said, Brian is in 3 other courtrooms. When he says he has a drug call and he has several other calls, he physically has those calls with other judges at other times in other courtrooms. So this is just one of the many responsibilities he has with the public defender's office. But whenever we have a veteran come through on my regular call or on our dedicated call, he and Lori are always available no matter what. We actually talk and we staff, when we're not in the courtroom, even before the COVID set in. We have a full-time psychiatrist from the Veterans Administration too. And
Isn't that great?
Yeah, we did have a medical doctor too previously. Well, the psychiatrist is a medical doctor, but we also had a medical doctor that was not a psychiatrist for a while. So we're blessed in the sense that we have these resources to pull on.
Yeah.
Your services are just unbelievable. What you folks have done relative to the Veterans Court and what you continue to do, you're really to be. Whenever I hear about all the things, that there isn't anyone who can't get some help. How often does that happen, guys and ladies?
Right.
Cliff and Doc, Lori, our veterans go and serve, and they come back oftentimes, unfortunately, to what I call an ungrateful nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, after all the hoopla, you'll see a lot of hoopla on July 4th that is about to come up. I won't go into what Frederick Douglass said about July 4th. We'll leave that for another day. But we do a lot of hoopla on all holidays, but then when we need somebody to protect the country. But then after that, particularly the veterans of color, black veterans and Hispanic veterans, when they come back, there's really no place. The nation has forgotten about all the parades, and they've forgotten about all the accolades, and they are not as warm and fuzzy about the service when the veterans come back, and they're not absolutely perfect. So we try to even that out best we can.
And you do a damn good job of it.
That is
really
phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah, Cliff, I just wish I could, and I don't want to take him away from Lori and from Brian, but I if I could vote for someone to become a Supreme Court justice, I'd be looking for William Hooks.
There you go.
On that Supreme Court, because it makes too much sense, and you need leadership from these positions where you have these three dedicated public servants.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Judge Hooks and attorneys Roper and Scanlon, who are doing things, that are counting, that are actually changing people's lives. And we need more people like you out there in this system, and people who are going to be paying attention to the needs of our veterans. And so, any good stories you have, any good success stories that you can share with us? Things that you saw. I know you can't give names and all that, that kind of thing, but just in general, what kinds of things have you felt most proud of what you've done?
Brian, a story comes to mind concerning the female Marine that we had that had a lot of problems. We ended up giving her a personal mentor who was a private lawyer who dedicated her time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to let's not mention her name, but she had a very serious situation, and several cases, I believe, at least a couple of cases. We were able to get her housing, get her away from a very bad relationship, get her a job, and turn her life around. And she ended up with a new friend. With the attorney that came in pro bono, not to represent her, but to be her mentor, they have a lifelong friendship now. And she comes back for graduation, and she also encourages those that that are not quite doing what they need to. So we've had some real good stories in that arena. She's not the only one, but she really stands out because she went such a distance to get where she needed to go. And she was initially resistant to success, but then she turned that around. But we have some stories over there. I'm just pleased when I learned that these veterans who didn't have jobs, or didn't have skills, and didn't have housing, had evictions at the end of the 2-year period of time. And sometimes I terminate them earlier, and we graduate them earlier. They end up, much better than they were. So it's and the other thing is the pleasure of serving with people too. And Dr. Arnold, having served in the Army for such a length of time, he can certainly tell us about the fact that when you serve with people that have a common mission, there is a bonding that takes place that lasts a lifetime when you're in a common.
Yeah, what do you think we can do as veterans to help? Because a lot of us are retired veterans, and is there anything that we can do as far as, anything from donations to, giving time or whatever that you need to support the program, or just encouraging people on our VFW post or American Legion post to seek help?
Well, you and Cliff are already doing a lot, and the people that sponsor this show are doing a lot by putting your time and your effort into this type of thing. But I'll tell you what, Doctor, we've known each other for quite a while, so
Yeah.
I'll get back with you and chit-chat about some of those options. But to the listeners out there, prayer helps. If you want to reach out to me, Cliff Kelly, and Doc know how to do that for sure. And we can chit-chat. But, it's the veterans really appreciate knowing that somebody cares about them. They get off track a little bit, and then we bring them back to track. This is not the job. My job is not to be a drill instructor. My job is to try to shake people into reality in a positive way. And the staff is the same way. All of my staff, they can independently do what I do. They all have their own philosophy. And they all have different techniques to get that done. So that's what makes it so much fun.
That, folks, that's what just surprised me. America's Heroes Group does such a great job, but when you find out who really gets involved, I have been fortunate enough to know most of you for some time, and when I heard that Bill Hooks, Marine, was involved in this, I said, well, I wonder if this is really going to work. It's been better than anybody could ever hope for. I mean, what these folks have done, as you know, Doc.
Yes.
Doc, briefly, Cliff actually, when I was in college and signed up to be a Marine officer, Cliff was my alderman. And so Cliff had actually signed off on paperwork and was interviewed by the Marine Corps folks in connection with my clearance because I'd been in his area. He knew me. And, that goes back a long, long ways. But I remember the senior Marine officer in Chicago was pleased that I knew the alderman. And I was an Eagle Scout, and I think I got some recognition from the Daily at the time. And that may have been the most important thing Daily did, the old man did.
I love it. It was to me. I know.
It wasn't to me, too.
So, it's just as Spencer would say, even a broken clock is right twice. It can be right twice a day. So I believe it like that.
Yeah, but that's fantastic, and see, that's how interconnected everything is, and we have to, that's why, what you're doing is so important, but no telling what kind of miracles you three have been doing and been involved in turning people around, because you don't know how they're going to influence someone else, and they may be the next Mayor Daley, the next, person that's going to, Cliff Kelly, alderman, who's going to be turning around things and helping people. And so I'm really have to applaud you for what you're doing.
Here's another quick one. Colonel, this is another quick one. Both Brian and Lori will probably be judges one day. So, the fact that we have met at this stage is going to be very helpful, as is the prosecutor that's in the courtroom. So it is a circular situation. They're not going to be public defenders forever, and the prosecutor's not going to be a public state's attorney forever. So, these are the type of people that I can sign off on and say, I know them well, and they have an excellent work product. As opposed to others that you don't know their work product, and if you do know it, the product is lacking. So, there is a circular situation to this, just like Cliff signed off on my paperwork when I was a youngster.
Yes.
In his These two outstanding lawyers will one day, if they want to, they may not want to be, but if they are, the number of us that respect them, and at that point, it'll be an easy situation. So that's how this works.
Yes, sir. And we have about 2 more minutes to go, and I just wanted to make sure that you all and Cliff, I know you have a final question for them, but just tell us a little bit about how they can contact you or learn more about the program. What website they can go to, or telephone number if you have one that they can actually go to seek some help. And I know that I'm not sure of how your cases come to you through the system, but maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
You want to do that, Brian?
Sure. The main number of the Cook County Public Defender's Office to the front desk, where we are at 26th Street, is 674-3217. And you can always ask for me, Brian Scanlon. I'm sure you could ask for Lori also. And the cases come in, usually get screened at the very beginning. Like an individual could tell a police officer, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. And then it'll be noted on his paperwork, his or her paperwork. Or when they come to court for the first time, when mitigation is offered for a bond, judge, he's a Marine Corps veteran or something like that. Or even if they're embarrassed and we start asking questions, because Lori has empowered me, and same with the judge, to go around the courthouse and just ask people questions in courtrooms. Do you have anybody that might qualify this way? Or I talk to the attorneys, and then they get referred to us. And it's a whole process. This judge, I don't think we have any more time to describe, but it's a 4-stage process, ultimately, to appear in front of Judge Hooks for a beautiful graduation.
Okay.
Is that not right, Lori?
Okay.
And that's good. And just to be real quick, this process is replicated throughout Cook County. We're very fortunate. Chief Judge Evans has these programs in every courthouse in every district in Cook County. So we are fortunate that we're able to help veterans throughout Cook County.